Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first video of the month of October. In this very short video, we are going to review how to use the past continuous and the past simple so that we can know how to differentiate between the uses and the form of these tenses. So to begin, how do you know how to use the past continuous and past simple? Let's look at some examples. When I woke up this morning, it was snowing. I was sleeping when you called me. So in both of these sentences, the use of the past simple and the past continuous are combined. Okay, so let's read the grammar explanation together. The past continuous and the past simple help us to show how two past actions or situations are connected. It's very common that we use the both of them in only one sentence or in describing one particular situation because they help us with different uses or different functions, have functions to complement the ideas. So for example, the past simple shows us that an action was in the past, not in the present, obviously. Regular past simple verbs have ed at the end, like called, played, arrived, and irregular verbs have a different form, usually with a different vowel sound, like wake, woke, break, broke, feel, and felt. There are no specific rules to know how these verbs change, as you know, so you need to memorize them or you need to study them again to review them so that you can remember the forms, right? Some examples could be, my parents called me yesterday. I woke up early this morning. Sam played basketball when he was at university. We can also make negative sentences using didn't and the infinitive or the base form of the verb. My parents didn't call me yesterday. So here the verb, the main verb, is not in the past form, called. The reason for this is that the auxiliary verb didn't already gives us the idea that this sentence is in the past. So we don't need two verbs in the past, right? It would be a mistake to say didn't called, all right? So don't do that. It would be a mistake. Another example, I didn't wake up early this morning, okay? Again, we have didn't with the verb wake up, the base form or the infinitive. Within those same rules, we can make a question with the form of did and then the subject and the verb. Did you wake up early this morning? Did Sam play basketball when he was at university? Okay, so again, we use did with the base form of the verb. And so this is basically the past simple, right? And we use phrases that point that at a specific time where the action was done, like yesterday, this morning, when he was at university. Then we have the past continuous. And with the past continuous, the use is very similar, but it also has some specific functions that we need to pay attention to. So the past continuous shows us that the action was already in progress at a certain time in the past. So usually what happens is that we have like a timeline, right? So the past and the present. And at some point in the past, we started doing the action, right? And usually, if it's an action that you can do for some minutes or some hours, right? You continue to do it. So we have questions and answers or questions and sentences like, what were you doing at 8 p.m. last night? I was studying. So probably this person started to study before 8 p.m. and then he continued to do it when it was 8 and probably even after it was 8. So I was studying during that time. Like I said before, this means that I started studying before 8 p.m. and I continued after 8 p.m. The past continuous can also show that an activity was in progress for some time, not just for a moment, right? We were cleaning the house all morning. So in this case, obviously, this happened probably in 2 or 3 or 4 hours. So all morning. It was a process that we continued doing for that period of time. We make the past continuous with was or were and the ing form. She couldn't come to the party. She was working. 3 years ago, we were living in in my hometown. I tried to give him some advice, but he wasn't listening. What were you doing this time last year? These are some examples, right? Now, how to use them together or how to differentiate when to use the continuous or the simple form. Let's see. When we use these two tenses together, it shows us that the past simple action happened in the middle of the past continuous action while it was in progress. While I was studying, I suddenly felt sleepy. Mientras estaba estudiando, right? So it was for a period of time. Let's say that you studied, you were studying for an hour, and then suddenly something caught that action. Something happened. In this case, I suddenly felt sleepy. Okay, so this is like in a moment, an instant, and this is a prolonged activity. We often use these tenses to show an action interrupting another action. I broke my leg, right? So an accident happened. I broke my leg when I was skiing. So I was doing an activity for some time, and then suddenly the action of skiing got interrupted because I broke my leg. I had an accident. As I was going to work, I saw an old friend. So on my way to work, I suddenly got interrupted by me seeing an old friend, right? We were watching television when the power went off, right? So something interrupted or stopped that action. Okay, let's see. Can you see a difference in meaning of these two sentences? Let's see if we can. When the guests arrived, Jane was cooking dinner. When the guests arrived, Jane cooked dinner. So here we have both situations that are, both situations are the same, okay? But here, the other sentence is in continuous or in simple form. Let's look at the difference. In the first one, Jane started cooking dinner before the guests arrived. We know that because it uses the past continuous. In the second sentence, the guests arrived first and then Jane started cooking. So remember that there's a difference in the meaning of these two tenses, and it depends on what you want to say. Both of these are grammatically correct, right? They are grammatically correct sentences. They are correctly written. They use the verbs correctly, but the meaning is different. And this is really important, right? So when we use the continuous form, the past continuous, it means that an action started before the moment of speaking, then something happened that interrupted the action, or depending on the situation, it happened, it continued after that specific moment. When you use the past simple, it means that it's like a sequence of events. So one after the other. One event has to finish for the other one to start, right? So it's like a succession of actions. Now, as homework for this video, what you will do is you're going to access to this link that I'm going to paste in the message. It's the same as the page we're seeing now. You're going to do the grammar test, right? And when you finish the grammar test, okay, you're going to take a picture to your, right? You're going to take a picture to your score. and you're gonna send it as a picture to your teacher, okay? You can take a screen cap, like a picture of your screen, or you can cut the image of the screen and put it in a Word document, for example, or you can do it in your notebook, right? You can do it in your notebook and take a picture of that piece of paper, but you have to send the evidence of doing grammar test 1 and grammar test 2. Okay, so you need to do both exercises. Right, so we are done with this topic. I hope that the explanation was useful for you. Of course, you will do this practice, and if you have any doubts, we can solve them in the following class, right? So I'll say goodbye for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.